What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Alex Cuesta Show. How is everybody doing out there on this Thursday, March 7th of 2024 for episode 114? And David, we're live.
I know.
We did it.
I know. It's incredible.
We did it. You get to see our ugly asses, but we are here. And, it is unfortunate that you're here. That is like the real unfortunate part, that you actually made it here. But yes, we are here live streaming. We are live over on Twix. We are live on YouTube. So definitely go out there and give us a view if you like what you hear today. Give us a like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5-star Spotify and iTunes. Spread this word of mouth. Go look for us on the socials at the Alex Cuesta Show. And it's important. Go share this with your friends now. Go on social media. If you're on X, if you are on YouTube, go share this because that's how we get more eyes coming in. So if you want to leave any comments, anything in the chat, we'll be periodically checking there. Mm-hmm. So we will go and we will interact. We're not afraid. We do bite sometimes. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I will bite you. But David, shut up. I hate you. So before we get into this week's show, last week's show, we had a good time, and it's kind of, related to what I'm about to say. We had Paul Ingratian, and he is a writer for Gateway Pundit. He is a big Donald Trump supporter on the campaign for him, big in New York Young Republicans. We had a quick snippet, but it was a good time. We got a lot of information out of a half an hour, so we are really pumped about that. So go back. It's on YouTube. It's anywhere you can find a podcast, so it's all there. But it's funny because we're stupid, David. Well, I'm stupid because we decided to do this on the State of the Union night. Now, most political shows would be like doing the State of the Union at the same time, but we say, fuck that. We are not going to do that.
Who wants to watch that? Honestly, who wants to watch that?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe someone does.
It is slightly a content farm because you could just farm whatever Biden's going to gaffe tonight and whatever he's going to say that disparages half of the nation. But I mean, how much of a content farm is it at this point when it's the same damn thing that's been happening every time he speaks?
And we could be honest. If we did that, who would give a shit? Donald Trump is doing it on his own on Truth.
Yeah.
You have Tim Cass, The Blaze, Daily Wire, Steven Crowder, everybody who's anybody's doing it. So we're going to stick to it. We're going to have some fun. We're going to welcome in our guest for this week, which we are excited for. We have Jamie Lashley. She is a healthcare executive for Telos Health Systems. What's going on, Jamie?
Hi, guys. Not much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We appreciate you coming on. So we are going to talk all things healthcare today, and we're going to have a good time. And, the unfortunate part is healthcare mixes in with politics far too well right now. Like far, far too well for anybody's liking. So hopefully Jamie doesn't offend anybody that she works with as she speaks because, she let us know, hey guys, she's a closet Republican. So we're going to have a good time here. So I want to jump first off. What is Telos Health Systems? What do they do? What do you do there?
So I am the Chief Operating Officer for Telos Health Systems, and we are a continuity of care organization that provides care from physicians, nurse practitioners, psychologists, licensed clinical social workers, licensed mental family therapists, licensed clinical mental health counselors. We do remote patient monitoring, telehealth, chronic care management. So we basically do an all-in-one solution to better manage the care of patients in long-term care settings, with a goal within the next year or so to transition to home.
I mean, that's awesome. So you basically do a little bit of everything to make healthcare more accessible for everyone involved, right? If I can kind of sum it up.
That is correct.
So obviously with doing that, you guys are big on access, right? So what do you see going on in healthcare right now? Do enough people have access to the proper healthcare that they need?
I think people have access. I think they use it wrong, personally. I think people abuse hospital systems as their primary care physicians. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, because a lot of people are afraid to go to the doctor, they think if they go to the hospital, be just in and out. They want quick diagnoses, and they do not want to work to fix the bottom line issue. I see far too often people's medical claims, and they are frequenting either an urgent care, utilizing an urgent care as their primary care physician's office, a hospital as the primary care physician's office. So I do think it's a lack of knowledge overall. And I think it's everyone now in the world is looking for quick fixes. They want to climb the ladder quick. Mm-hmm. They want to achieve success quick, and nothing ever quick turns out well.
No, not at all. It doesn't turn out well. And, and that, like you said, there's a lot of people abusing the system right now. And it's only getting worse because we are letting in a lot of illegal immigrants. And that is becoming a big hot button issue. Is that putting a strain that you're seeing in your field on healthcare systems and on the things that you're able to provide? And what are you doing with your system in order to try and help people out? Not necessarily the illegal immigrants, because, not to be mean, but they need to not be here. But, for the, the doctors and stuff that you do work with and things like that are probably going to you hey, what the hell do I do here? I'm overloaded. I don't know what to do.
So there's always been an issue. I would tell people very early on in my career, the difference between our elders who have worked their entire lives, there is about a $200 variable in Social Security from those who have never worked a day in their life, who've come here either illegally or just have not worked. When they apply for Social Security, and to when our elders, grandparents, great-grandparents, and parents, they apply for Social Security. So I think for those that have paid taxes their entire lives and they are hindered from actual resources that are very much in comparison to what people who have never worked or maybe worked off the books or have come here from another country, it's $200 difference. And people don't really understand that. They don't understand the cost savings. They don't understand how to navigate Medicare and Medicaid. They don't know how to preserve their family's generational wealth. Especially the old baby boomer generation and more, they're very, very proud of the money that they have saved through their lifetime. So it's almost taboo to apply for Medicaid. But I got news for you. If they do not apply for Medicaid, any type of long-term care will be able to access all of their funds.
And, and that's crazy. And, you talk about, accessing things like that. And I kind of want to switch a little gears real quick, because we've been hearing a lot from the left about socialized healthcare. And now you look at something like a Medicaid is already kind of like a socialized system that we already have set up in this country. What would happen to healthcare in this country if we went to a socialized healthcare system? Would it collapse? Would it hurt? Would it affect us greatly? What would you see from the doctor side if we went to a socialized healthcare like a Canada, like a UK, like so many countries in Italy and like Europe and stuff like that?
So many countries in Italy.
I think there's pros and cons. Unfortunately, it wouldn't work well for us the way that our country is set up. And I'm always a big fan of those who work hard deserve to reap the benefits. I get very offended for my peers, for my colleagues who are doctors, and people are looking into their pockets. Everybody has the same opportunity. Maybe not everybody was granted the same benefit of growing up in a family that had money, but we can all create our own money. So I think there are pros and cons to it, and I think they can outweigh each other in certain aspects, but I just think nationally it would not work for us because of the dynamics of how we're already set up within this country.
So, I look at it and I'm guessing, the pros would be obviously everyone would have access to some basic form of healthcare, right? It would be a basic form, but again, you said there's a lot of abuse in the hospitals, and hospitals can't turn people away. They legally are not allowed to turn people away. And then these people that they can't turn away, if they can't pay, they don't go hunting them down. They only hunt down the people that give them all their information and their legal information and their addresses. So it's there already is that system, and there already is that strain on the system. And, Medicaid's a form of that. The VA is a form of socialized healthcare, and the VA is run like absolute hot garbage. I know Go ahead, Jamie.
I know the inner workings of the VA. I am a child of two parents who were former Marines.
Yep.
I do get the benefit of USAA. However,
their service.
They are still very backlogged. They are one of the few healthcare systems that invoke a paper system. There's also hardly any resources from the actual veterans that require it. The veterans, once they're getting their VA insurance, they're ill prepared for the actuality of what it includes, how their coverage correlates to a service injury, how it correlates to the amount of years serviced. During my times in the nursing home industry, I cannot tell you how many veterans would come in inappropriately diagnosed as having behaviors when you're speaking of people who've lived through World War II, different wars. They're used to only carrying a backpack. So if a nurse comes in or a housekeeping moves that one backpack, of course they're going to be upset because that is the only thing that they own. And they're very quick to put a mental health diagnosis on them. And unfortunately, we can see your entire healthcare lives. So what you're treated for, what you are receiving at that moment, there is no code to say, oh, this is situational. This is just a behavior due to this. These patients, and a lot in the VA, they would rather sleep on a bench in the park than be subjected to being misunderstood inside facilities. And they are minimizing the amount of resources for the veterans. They're closing veterans hospitals. They are closing access. And you're talking of veterans who are they're just not educated all of the benefits that they can have.
So was this better under Trump? Like,
100%.
Was it? So what was Trump doing that was different that Biden reversed? Because I'm not in the medical system. My mom and dad didn't serve. I have friends that have served. But what was different? Because, from the conservative media, he was cleaning up corruption. He was getting out a lot of people that shook each other's hands and kind of let money flow. But from someone that knows what was or what is different about what is going on in the VA right now.
So I can't just target it only to the VA, but I can say overall healthcare is that I feel personally under Trump that there was more of a priority on educating everybody on the resources that were available to them. Not saying, here you go, this is what you have, go abuse it. You can give anybody anything, but you need to properly explain what's there for you. And healthcare is really hard to navigate. There's PPOs, there's HMOs, there's out-of-pocket, there's managed care, there's commercial insurance, there's Medicaid, there is managed Medicaid, managed Medicare. And so now my family and my new extended family, they get the benefit of all of that. And sometimes we recently went through that. And just having that knowledge of what you can expect, I do believe it comes down to education, because healthcare itself, you need to be educated. Just as they taught us, our pyramid of food groups, I think they have to teach you what goes along with that.
It has come along that the pyramid of food groups is actually incorrect. So they do need to teach us. We do need to know what's happening.
Now they don't want us to eat bread. But why?
But they want us to eat the things that they're putting a bunch of hormones in and steroids and vaccines, maybe. They're throwing that all in there. Let's get into conspiracy land here. Maybe let's start hashtagging conspiracies. We'll get a bunch of followers.
But I would like to ask, because I follow a whole bunch of random stuff on the internet. And, I'm very into gaming. And right now, this thing...
the gaming chair did not give it away.
Oh, no. But right now, this thing it's being posted as Gamergate 2.0 is happening. And that's a whole other story. But a lot of it has to do with just genuine activism in a place where activism doesn't need to be. And so, in your experience, especially recently, but have you seen activists kind of come into the healthcare system and do things that they shouldn't be doing, that is obviously going to hurt people instead of actually help them, but because of their ideology they just push it anyway?
I think it's no different than seeing, I think there's pop-up groups that have a biased misunderstanding of, they think all people in healthcare are trying to steal money or steal from them. And that's really not the case. I think you're going to find people who are looking to conduct fraud in every arena, right? It's just healthcare, the leaders of healthcare, it's such a small group. And again, a lack of education leads to the unknown. So I think it's Fat Joe or somebody in the Bronx that was putting everybody together to reform long-term care because they felt there was fraud everywhere. No. I think they should focus on the rest of their rap friends who are putting in lyrics that are contributing to children blowing up schools.
No, you really think that that's happening? I don't know. I don't know. So, one thing that I want to do with healthcare, now I'm always been politically involved. I want to get more politically involved as I get older and things like that. How can we simplify healthcare? Because I always think about one of the things that I fucking hate about healthcare is EOBs. Getting an EOB, getting an explanation of benefits, walk in, getting something done to me, and then not knowing for weeks on end how much that's going to be, and then looking at it and going, okay, I have no idea how much my insurance is going to cover out of this. And is there any way that, and this obviously is probably going to come down to political will and doing things like that, but like you walk into a mechanic's and you see all their prices all on the back, right? Now, they might lie, and because they suck, but at the same time, you at least have the option of looking at them. Is there any way, or would there be any will to make these prices open, right? In every doctor's office you walk into, here are the prices if you don't have insurance. And then every single insurance provider provides a pamphlet of here are the prices of all the procedures in the pamphlet of your insurance. So then if I have, you have USAA and, I'm sitting there and I have Aetna and, let's just say I could get USAA. I know I can't, I'm not a vet. But, I look at my Aetna and I'm like, this is $6,000. Then I open up the USAA and I'm like, it's $4,800. I might switch to USAA. Is there any will for that? Or is there just something where the healthcare system just really enjoys the way that they're able to do it?
Well, there is a lot of transparency in that. And again, it's a lack of education because all of your charges are based off of an ICD or a CPT code, which is all readily available online.
Where can they find that? Where, like
Google.
Google. So what do you at Google? You Google your insurance,
look at on your EOB. There'll be either a CPT or an ICD code, and you can find it in Google. Pretty simple. I think the issue comes from. I won't say that there's an over abuse. Obviously, everybody sees fraud charges. Again, you're going to find people that will do fraud everywhere.
Yeah.
But the more knowledgeable you are prior to being admitted, you have to understand the difference. What does this cost me? Start reading your provider manual when you get your benefits. It is all detailed in there. They will tell you how much they pay for this provider. They will tell you how much they're paying there, and they will tell you how much you're being charged for each provider. People love saying, I don't know, but I guarantee if you pull out your insurance cards right now, your rates are right on there. This is an office visit. This is a specialty visit. This is an out-of-pocket visit. This is what's included. Read your manuals because it is there. Is it a lot of? Yes, it is. I'm very big on AI right now. Our company as a whole is moving forward with a lot of work with AI.
Okay.
And if anybody is familiar using AI, you can transport that document into AI, ask AI to simplify it for you. They will give you a summary. Even on my conference calls, I utilize something called otter.ai.
Are you using Gemini to do promotions so that when you try to make white people, there's no white people in any of your promotions?
I use something called Dale, and Dale is a GPT-4 code. I also integrate with otter.ai, so my meeting summaries and transcripts now are sent to me automatically. So everything to make it a little bit more readily available so that I can free up my time to provide further education for either our staff for our peers, because I cannot say this enough. Education is first and foremost, and we have to take it back to understanding how important education is, not just when we're in school, but beyond.
I mean, and that's the thing too. And it's like, and I love that you're here to drop this knowledge, right? Because these are all things that I didn't know. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this. And also when it comes to the AI stuff, Dave and I are slugs with this. So Jamie, we're gonna have to hire you to automate everything for us. But
if you were to ask my fiance, I automate everything.
And we happen to know your fiance very well. So
yes, you do.
Well.
I mean, so yeah, we're gonna get to this, Jamie. But,
I will automate it all for you.
Thank you. But I love that you're here dropping this knowledge, because again, I know to look on the back of the card. But one of the things is, so do you go out and give seminars to talk to people about this stuff and let them know about these things? Is that part of something that you guys provide as a company?
So for Telos as a whole, no. However, I do get invited often to speak. I will be speaking at Becker's. I speak for John Hopkins. This is something that Dan and I are discussing to roll out of his law practice in elder care business, focusing primarily on healthcare. And it started by my grandfather-in-law, because obviously there was a situation there, and I was like, whoa, stop. This is what we're going to do. We're not going to, some people don't know on day 21 you're going to be charged extra fees while you're on a Medicare stay, and $177+ is a lot.
Hell yeah.
So having that insight is helpful. I do think that hopefully Dan will launch that by the end of next year, because I think it's necessary if he doesn't kill me by then. But as far
he is a lawyer, he could cover it up pretty well.
He can, but he still would have to deal with a lot of outreach of the people that I know. So
might not go well for him.
Yeah.
Oh, Dan, we can't help you here. But so I like this, and I think this is something where, and I think someone like you who has a lot of the knowledge could do this in a way to people, or maybe we need to figure something out, because I think part of it is when they do these things at companies, they have people that sound like Ben Stein coming to explain it. And so everyone's sitting there and it's like, you can look at the back of your card here, and then everyone falls asleep. So nobody listens, and nobody knows to look at their EOBs and check these codes and go to Google and find out how much you're going to be owing and things like that to be ready for this stuff. So that might be something that I don't know if you guys want to take it on, but somebody needs to take it on to kind of make this more interesting, to make it something where, and I get it, you shouldn't have to pull teeth to make something like this interesting, right? But people, like you said, you're doing everything automated. People like everything easy. People like to make it as easy as they can.
Which is why they go to urgent care in the hospital as opposed to a primary care physician, because it's a lot easier to walk in and then walk out.
Yep.
So here's a question for you. When should we use urgent care? When should we use the emergency room? I know it sounds like it should be self-explanatory, right?
If you break a leg, if you're bleeding uncontrollably, if you are in a life or death situation that would warrant a 911 call or a quick trip to the hospital. Everything else should be handled by your primary care physician's office.
What if your urgent care screws up and almost kills you like mine did, where they told me I had...
I think I remember this.
Yeah, I had to have my gallbladder removed and I had severe pancreatitis because I went to the urgent care and they told me I was just backed up and constipated.
Yeah, I remember this.
They were almost successful in ridding you of this earth.
You know what sucks is my New Year's resolution every year is don't die, and I almost failed. I almost failed at my resolution, the freaking urgent care. So, so what goes on in that situation where you think you're doing the right thing and you get the wrong treatment? What?
You should have probably called your primary care and told him your symptoms because he knows you best.
Okay.
And let him decide what to do with you.
So go to primary care basically over everything, especially I imagine if they provide telehealth, that is something that we should be using more and more of.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Check your insurance cards because a lot of insurers now, we're starting telehealth soon too. A lot of insurers offer free telehealth. So save money where you can, utilize those services. Some offer a lot of free mental and behavioral health services. Be educated. Look at your plan benefits.
So we're going to go deep here real quick. What do you see the trend is in going on? Because you mentioned mental health, right? Mental health is a big buzzword. Mental health comes in a lot of things. We see a lot of kids with the trans stuff going on. What is going on in the medical community with this shit? And how much is backed? How much is being pushed and things like that? Because I personally see it as child abuse. If your kid's under 18 and you're going to get them hormone blockers, you're going to get them a sex change, you know what? If they're kids and they want to be called something different, they want to dress different, whatever, right? But to me, once it starts getting into that medical area, that's when, in my opinion, you're abusing your child. What are you seeing in the medical realm? Is there a push and pull against it? Are people scared to come out and be like, no, I'm not doing that? Like, what is going on there?
You have to remember, the medical world has to comply with the patient's or the family's best wishes, for one. I don't think it's an issue surrounding the medical world. I think it's an issue surrounding a certain community world. I think, whenever there's a big change or people are quick to jump on the bandwagon, and they may not know. They may not. Again, lack of education. They don't understand why they're on that bandwagon. I do think people have a right to choose whatever they want, but I think as our world set in stone certain ages for things, you can't be 1 year old saying, I'm going to go into high school because I identify as a senior in high school. It just can't happen.
Nope.
I can't go to the bank and say, I identify as the CEO of your bank, so I'm here to work. I can't do that because it is not, it's not realistic. So I do think that, I think it is a form of mutilation. And I do think there's a point where somebody should be old enough of sound mind, body, and soul to willingly say, I'm going to mutilate, not that it's a fad. Because if you look at these kids at 8 years old, some of them still want to eat dirt. Some of them are still playing Captain America or whatever cool thing is out there. I don't think their minds are mature enough to handle something like that. For God's sake, you can't go to college until you are mature. You cannot drive. Although
until you are mature, it's questionable.
I was going to say, I would actually argue a lot of people going to college aren't mature at all.
Yeah, age mature, not mind mature.
So what about David? David's been going through transition now for about a few months.
Well, if you look at my son, so my son is, I don't know if you guys have met, you didn't meet him yet, but he is a professional physique model winning multiple bodybuilding competitions. And even that puts him through a grueling, quote unquote, transition, right? It's a diet. He did not go into that until 23 years of age. If my son, and this is personal, came to me and said, I'm a girl, I'd say, okay, you're a girl, but not outside this house. They'll learn very quick, because I think as many people as we see that are forcing the issue that really truly want this, I think we're seeing double the amount of who've gone through the transition and who are upset with themselves that they did. And there's a lot of crying out. There's girls, there's boys saying, I wish they never allowed me. And unfortunately, they are blaming the doctors. You can't blame the doctor, because doctors take code of ethics and they have to abide by a patient's wishes. In the United States, it is illegal for euthanasia. They have to go to Sweden or somewhere else. But isn't that a form of euthanasia if you are killing your old self to become another self?
I think that, spiritually, you could definitely argue that.
Yeah. You are killing the person who you once were to become another person.
Technically, in their ideology, too, they are. I mean, it's dead naming. They are. They would agree with that point. I would
we have child abuse books on the law, right? Yeah. Wouldn't you consider taking your child to get irreversible hormones? And I don't care what anybody says, Lupron's not reversible. It is not. And getting genital mutilations, even though, like, people argue there's parents' rights, right? Like, and that's the leftist. Like, well, the right argues parents' rights. You don't have the right to abuse your kid. That is in law. That is stated. You do not have the right to abuse your own child. So wouldn't that fall less under even just, euthanasia and more under this is child abuse? Like, I can't sit there and be like, I want my son to only have an arm, so I'm going to chop one off. You
can't.
I can't do that.
And if your kids come home and say, I want to do crack cocaine because they identify as a drug dealer, you can't go give them crack cocaine.
In Portland, probably. I'd say you can in Portland.
Maybe.
But
it's still not good.
It's still not good. It is still not good. So, and I get it. Like you said, like, could the doctor stand up in this way and say, I won't participate in child abuse? Because wouldn't that be like against their oath to do something? Do no harm is their Hippocratic oath, right?
But wherein it lies the harm? And that is what the gray line is right now. Is it more harmful to them to live as this other person? With the family, you could also have a family that is so brainwashed into believing this is truly what it is. So identifying harm is a very scary thing. Listen, as patients age, you can't even place a patient in the hospital if there's a do not hospitalize, there's a do not resuscitate. It's hard. And unfortunately, parents are listed as their guardians and they know what's best for them. And unfortunately, I think we are in an environment right now where there's a transition where we were raised, the adults were the authority. I think children are slowly becoming the authority. I see a big difference.
Hopefully we're putting a stop to that because it seems to be a thing, especially because, I can't remember if California it's actually signed this, but like, there seems to be a push that, well, if your parents don't necessarily agree to affirm your gender, then you should go and seek out to affirm it in some other way without their knowledge.
Or you could be in Canada and it could be against the law for you not to affirm your child.
So that is true. There was actually a story. I think the family is from New Jersey, somewhere local. They hid the daughter's transition from the parents. And how they found out is because a group of girls wanted to invite this little girl over. And they were whispering that they couldn't invite her because it was made a secret from the teacher, because the teacher was having the little girl identify as a boy during class. One of the parents happened to overhear this, called the parents of the little girl. The parents took her. There was a warrant issued for the parents' arrest. They fled the country, went to a different country because they found emails from this teacher. The teacher was manipulating the child, saying, I'm fearful of how your parents will handle it and such. So I think that's grooming. Here we are arresting. We're arresting pedophiles and everything else, but isn't this the same?
Well, we're arresting some pedophiles.
They're MAPS. They're just minorly attracted people. If you go to, was it Delaware passed that law? No, not Delaware.
No, I don't know.
It was a northeastern state. Vermont, maybe? Something like that. Someone passed a law where you can't call them pedophiles anymore. You have to call them MAPS.
I'm going to look at that. I don't know if that's necessarily correct.
Okay, Predator. I watched Catch a Predator. I think it's even returning. I think that what would be the difference of trying to attract a young child for their pleasure, and when parents are attracting children maybe for their own pleasure and convincing them that they're now a different gender? I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Jamie,
to me.
You'd be interested in one of our former guests, Alex Rosen. He runs a thing called Predator Poachers, and he just quite literally, him and his friends travel around the country entrapping pedophiles, getting them to admit to their crimes, and gets the cops involved.
I would trap them, and because I just, it's not right. You see sex trafficking and everything else, but I don't know, this transitioning nonsense. We're girls, we're boys. You can have children. You can't have children. There you go.
And, and I listen to a lot of James Lindsay on things like this, and he's a really good, guy that talks about searching. Queer theory is a big part of this, right? It's all about queer theory, and it's a form of Marxism because they're doing a conflict theory thing. They're having the hypothesis, the thesis, antithesis, creating a synthesis, right? So that's what we're seeing here. And, and it's meant to confuse these kids. And part of queer theory is it's a constant revolution. They go against the norm. So the thing is, we've seen this too. Once homosexuals got the right to be gay, right? And they're cool. Now gay people are nothing. They're not, they don't exist. They don't care, and the queer movement has thrown them away. And now it's all about being trans. But then once trans becomes something that's accepted, they're going to move on to the next thing. And pedophilia works really close in it, and they're working on that too. So it's freaking gross, Jamie. It is just.
Well, I was reading an article yesterday that they uncovered troves of medical journals in a different country where they were also releasing non-gender bodies. And non-gendered bodies. So maybe Kanye West made this. I have no idea, but I forget where it's happening, but they discovered this troves of medical documentation to have not only gender reassignment, but closed gender, no gender, genderless.
But that's kind of like the crazy, like the singularity, right? What a lot of your dystopian things go for, like all sameness. But that's also the way like Marxists and stuff look at
it. To be necessarily fair, though, I don't really believe in gender as a concept. I mean, wasn't it John Money that made that shit up? And that guy was a weirdo. So like, I don't necessarily believe in it as a concept. You have a sex and you have a goddamn personality. Like, it's just whether or not you decide to go and weight lift and do that shit, which you should as a man. But whether or not you decide to do that, or whether or not decide to just be a little bit more geeky. So like, you don't necessarily have a gender.
No, David froze.
Listen,
David
in my household, raising my children, my son was a boy's boy, and my daughter, she was a girl's girl. And I wanted to raise beasts who knew how to thrive in this world and to be successful. So, and they can't do that crying over spilled milk or because somebody doesn't play with them.
And and that's the thing too. And it's like, my older daughter, no one has to teach her how to be a girl. Like, she is just a girl. She wants to be. I saw her Christmas list. Yeah, like nobody has to teach her. Now, my younger one, she's 3. You don't know, but she's not as naturally girly. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to go to her and be like, "Oh, you like the color blue?
And here's
now
a
you're a
strap.
boy." Like, like now I'm gonna start calling you Phil, and you're done. Like, you don't have a name anymore. Like, that's just fucking nonsense. That even becomes a thing. And I don't know, like, where have we gone to this point? Like David said, John Money's the one that created the big terming of gendering, and he's the one that also pushed for a test of 2 twins. I don't know if you ever heard about this. There were 2 twins, and he wanted to prove that it was nurture over nature, that it doesn't matter that they were born boys. If you raise one as a girl, they're going to be a girl. So they did that. They had one family raise one as a girl, and I'm pretty sure they cut their junk off, and the other one raised as a boy. And the boy was a boy, and the girl always felt off. And then I think in their 20s, they found out that they were meant to be a boy, and this happened to them. They committed suicide. And not too long later, their brother, after finding out what happened to his brother, also committed suicide. So it's even doing the experiment of the type of shit that they're pushing now. Because
I believe in nature, not nurture.
And you mentioned earlier, what's healthier, making them live in that body or, allowing them to get their shit cut off. And it's like, what's healthier for me? We see most people that suffer gender dysphoria, that, think they're an opposite sex when they're younger, just end up being gay when they're older. That is most people. And then once you're post 18, do whatever the hell you want.
Exactly. Or I would even stress not 18. If we can't drink until 21, I don't think
I think we should
fully mature.
I think we should be drinking at 18. Listen, if you could go die in war, if you could go do that, then you should have a drink.
Listen, my dad is full Sicilian. He would give my children lollipops dipped in sangria and wine and look at me and say, "What?"
I don't see anything wrong with that either.
So my kids didn't die.
No.
They're still here ticking.
And, and we were raised in the generation of you had a toothache, here's some whiskey, rub it on it. Good. You got your kids a little wasted, but now it's like, no, can't do that. But you can't do that. But you can tell them they're allowed to go cut their junk off and change their whole entire.
Exactly.
It is.
I don't get it.
See, but I do, because it's meant to cause chaos. These types of things, their whole purpose is to destabilize, is to cause chaos. And going back to queer theory, their whole purpose is to consistently fight against the norm. In order to be queer, in order to have a queer ideology, your whole goal is to, when the norm exists, go against it. Every time a norm is established, now it's status quo. Now it's not good enough. And this is Marxism. This is Maoism. This is 101 for all those types of things. So, and unfortunately, this all goes back into healthcare, because it does swing back around to you, because all these people need health, and it is creating, maybe good for you guys, right? Because the more kids that go trans, they become lifelong, because now they constantly have to take pills. They constantly have to seek medical attention, because they're cutting themselves open. They're giving themselves permanent scars when they're ripping flesh off their skin in order to create a penis, or, cutting their penis off. And
it's a depletion of resources.
It's absolutely incredible. So I want to jump back into healthcare. That was a fun aside. I want to jump back into a little more serious healthcare. I don't know where David went. David said he lost connection. I think he lied.
He's probably gaming.
No, he's not that good though. And by the way, if you ever want to go follow David, oh, there he is. He's back. Hi, welcome back.
Kill me.
You can't hear you. There you are. You're back.
You thought you could kill me.
That was the goal. We were happy. We thought you might have been gaming, but Dave, right underneath there, at Cuesta Cola, David will eventually get his gaming channel going.
Yeah, well, it's a channel for everything. We'll figure that out.
Channel for everything. He'll eventually do it. So maybe one day. But David, where did you go?
I don't know, man. My internet just died. I've been having some issues recently with it, but I thought it'd been working fine like just before this. So
you see that, Jamie? You come on. This has never happened to him. You come on, he ducks you.
The first live.
I know where to find you.
I mean, unfortunately for us, we're each states away, but
yeah, really?
So I want to swing back into healthcare. One of the problems with healthcare that, a lot of people see is we all get old, and old people need healthcare. How, one of the things we always hear is people are like, I start going broke. I have my pension, I have my, my little stipends, my social security, but it's not enough to keep up with all the pills I need, with all the things I need. What are some protections that we can have as we get older in order to not spend all of our money on RX, not spend all of our money on going to the doctors? How can we help ourselves as we get older?
Invest valuably. Ensure that you have prescription Part D coverage on your Medicare. Put your finances into an irrevocable trust. Spend down and get Medicaid.
Yeah, I like all those.
Provide generational wealth for your family.
Are you into healthcare savings accounts? If those have become a thing, like letting people have healthcare savings accounts where they can then eventually choose to spend that on what they want to spend?
Yeah, I mean, I've contemplated a lot of different options for our staff. I want to build Telos where we're built on culture, and not just say we're big on culture. So I do consider ourselves a little bit different because we actually stand behind our word. So I think right now we're in an environment where your people are making your company, because I don't want to say that the world is getting lazier. There is more options. People can look at a variety of different things to make money. They can go drive DoorDash. They don't have to work for me. They want to work for me. So I think as far as my staff, I can't speak for everybody. I don't know if it would work for everybody. But again, it will not work if there's no education on why an HSA would be worth it.
And that makes sense, right? And again, I get a lot of this. Go ahead, Dave.
I do want to jump in onto being old, because right now we have a very old person giving a State of Union, actually a corpse giving a State of Union. But apparently,
I just saw the updates.
Yeah, apparently he announced that the COVID vaccine is being used to cure cancer. So I want to try something on this stream real quick.
He did it.
I want to try something.
He said in his campaign that he was going to cure cancer.
Can you see this?
Let's see. Share screen. Show on stream. Let's do it.
Yeah. It should be up. I haven't watched this yet, so I don't know. He might have not said it, but
the vaccines that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer, turning setback into comeback. The vaccine that saved.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now that is 100% not true.
So here's the thing. And I'm not defending Joe Biden because Joe Biden's a fucking idiot. But what he's probably saying is that the mRNA technology is going to potentially be used in cancer because mRNA vaccination technology.
That is the nicest way to put it. There's a possibility, but
mRNA vaccination technology has been research. It's been going on for a little while now. And I know that was one of the avenues, right? And Jamie, you can correct me if I'm wrong. One of the avenues they were trying to see is if it can go into, because cancerous cells are within us, right? I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. That's what he had on the teleprompter. Jamie, what do you think?
I don't know. He didn't remember many things about his children. So I don't know where he came up with that, to be honest. I don't even know why he's discussing it is 2024 and he's blaming Trump for COVID when I personally believe I'm a big fan of DeSantis, by the way, because I was a Florida resident. Go DeSantis.
Nothing wrong with Ron at all.
I lived when it was chaos in Florida. Imagine millions of senior citizens scrambling for toilet paper. It was like a scene you would never believe. But then he also opened up Florida. I don't get what Biden's doing at all.
I mean, neither does he.
Yeah, no, he doesn't know what he's doing.
He doesn't know what he's doing. Or listen, I love the theory though that he knows exactly what he's doing and he's played this up. Like he sits there, he's like a decrepit old man, and then behind the scenes, he's like, "You fucking idiots, you mess." He's like clear as day, like.
I just saw he plans to bring back Roe v. Wade. I don't know where this is going. Like
the thing is, if he plans to bring back Roe v. Wade, he would lose the left. Like they don't want that anymore. Like they want third trimester. Like Roe v. Wade is actually terrible for them. Like,
exactly. You know, someone had made the joke that Biden tonight was going to blame Bo's death on shrinkflation. That's how bad it's gotten with his dementia. And you know, it really is that bad for him, at least it seems.
Oh my God. And he's only getting worse. So Jamie, I want to get you. So you like DeSantis. Do you think Trump is going to pick DeSantis as a VP? And would DeSantis accept it?
So Dan and I actually had this discussion last night, and I love picking Dan's brain for this. Obviously, he's an attorney, and he sees things. I'm a little bit more strict than him. I'm very rigid. I was like, I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I don't care if you owe me $1. I want my $1 back.
I want Sylvester Stallone to come break some legs. Give him my $1.
Yeah. So I think for him, I think if Trump is smart, he will wait until Florida has their primaries, I think, and see socially where his failures are and where he's losing voters. And I think at that point he should make a decision. I personally think DeSantis would be a great choice because if he cannot sway Florida, which I don't think he'll have a problem doing, but Florida obviously is huge. Yeah. I think DeSantis, I think Trump, my thought process to Dan last night was this. Trump is a big succession plan type of guy. He wants to ensure that his statement is carried on through the years. If we go by that, I don't think there is anybody better suited than DeSantis to carry on Trump's mission. Dan felt that they would not get along. But I think Trump is the type that he's okay. He can agree to disagree. And
as long as you're nice to him, you're back in his good graces. Like he's very big on that.
Yeah, he could say, look, he's met with opposition globally, right? Yeah. And he's done well because business is business.
He walked across the DMZ. No president has the balls to walk across the DMZ with no security. Just straight up walked across in the enemy territory.
A sheik. Right? Touching sheiks and
shit. Like Trump don't care.
And I think so. I don't know. If I was Trump, I would wait until after Florida primaries. I would see where he falls there. I would then take a consideration of where he's lacking. I know this is probably not going to fare well with my female friends, but I do not think we should have a female president. I think women as a whole, we tend to be emotional no matter what capacity. I think, I know people are going to fault me for that.
Can you imagine if we said that, Alex?
I think it needs to be the right woman though. Here's my thing. Margaret Thatcher was fucking fantastic, right? She's one of the best politicians.
She's all right. She's pretty good.
She was solid. And she's, conservatives to this day always talk about her. She has her faults.
I think you asked some Englishmen. There's some issues with Margaret, but
overall, pretty damn good. So I think the right woman, right, can come along and do it. I mean,
it's hard.
You have Kamala really right there.
Hell no. There's too many eyes on females. They had that one, who was she was the from Finland, and she had to resign because they took a picture of her partying, and she's 40 years old.
Hey, listen, I will say this: if it's a female president, she should probably be ugly. I'm not kidding, because the looks would be an issue.
Remember, I said no attractive people in politics. That's my main issue. No attractive people.
You wouldn't have a problem, Dave. We need to get in. We're ugly as shit.
That's true.
I just think there's so many outlying countries that we need to have formidable relationships with that it takes an iron fist to maintain them. And I think there's a lot of countries that unfortunately they are behind in the times, and the respect towards women is not there yet globally.
So
I think that's a hindrance.
Hot button on the red pill group. Should women vote still?
Yes.
I want to get you on record whether or not they should vote.
Yes, I think we should, because I do think that women tend to be a little bit more calm in their decision making. Yes. I don't understand how a female in their 40s or 50s, when we all have young children, grandchildren, and families, have time to run a country when we're running our homes. But that's my personal belief. I mean, I obviously am running a company, and it's still balancing. I have children, I have stepchildren, grandchildren.
Yeah.
So if you're asking me the best vice president candidate for Trump, I honestly think DeSantis, because I would feel confident that he can carry out, because Trump only has 4 more years. Mm-hmm. What happens after that?
Was it concerning that he put such a shitty team around him, and that he wasn't able to pull the team out when they were absolutely failing him? Because you know what? People could say, oh, it's outside things, it's this and that. But it's your campaign team's job to get on top of these things, right? Things are going to get thrown at you. Other campaigns are going to come at you. Media is going to come at you. The DeSantis we see as a governor was absolutely not there campaigning.
From the one we saw.
He was a shell campaigning, and Christina Pushaw fucking sucks. She needs to be fired yesterday, because I get it, Twix is not real life, but Twix is huge in politics, okay? I don't care what anybody says, because you gain or lose major players on Twix, and major people that have huge platforms that are talking to a lot of common people. So she was awful. And then you have that Max Nordu dweeb, who I think was Christina Pushaw, just, with a stupid cartoon. Like, is it concerning you that we would put him in a position to delegate cabinet members, but his campaign had so many awful people on it?
I don't think so, because that's just real life. I rather take somebody who has the onus to stand by the decisions they make and deal with it than somebody that's quick to throw them out.
Fair.
I do like that answer. I do like it, but damn, he needed to fire a lot of people. And he let Will Chamberlain go, who I respect, and Will Chamberlain probably could have helped save his campaign.
I think he would the second time around, but I love the fact that he saw it through. It just gives more a testament to how he is as a family man. He helped his wife recover from cancer. You wouldn't want him to turn around and get rid of one of his children because the child happens not to be the next governor or the successor to him.
I mean, that would be kind of hilarious.
It would be totally hilarious.
His 30-year-old child. He lost the governor's election.
If you look at Trump really keeps those around him too until the end, and then he replaces them.
That's his biggest flaw, that Trump keeps around too many dickheads. Like, honestly, his biggest flaw is he keeps around too many people that everyone screams to the high heavens is going to backstab him, right? All conservative media is screaming about it. And he keeps those people around, like your freaking, who was the warmonger guy? Bolton.
Yeah.
He sucked terribly,
So I think the biggest thing with one of the things with DeSantis' campaign is, like we said, he's a completely different person. And he also didn't, like, his campaign really didn't have a focal point. Like, are you going to attack Trump or are you not going to attack Trump? Are you only going to do it sometimes or are you going to do it not sometimes? Are you going to be the guy that we've seen argue with reporters and absolutely destroyed him in Florida all the time, making you look awesome? Or are you just not going to be that guy? And I mean, he had some moments like the Newsom debate. Honestly, great that he really kind of knocked Newsom down.
Chances, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think his campaign was truly for presidency. I really think he was campaigning for vice presidency.
And the thing is, though, but he got outshined by Vivek Ramaswamy big time.
Yeah.
Like what he was doing as a governor, Vivek did as a presidential candidate. And I think we needed to see culture warrior DeSantis. If he would have stuck to culture warrior DeSantis and done what he did, I really think he'd still be in the race. I really do. I think he would have won some states in Super Tuesday. He would have been much closer. Now, obviously, Trump getting indicted a million times really helped him, right? That helped a lot of people. Even DeSantis supporters were like,
mugshot.
Let's get behind those NXT.
They were using that mugshot for Super Tuesday, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The fact that Fat Joe bought the Trump shoes and was like, listen, I just need to have these. I'm a sneakerhead. Like, people were like, oh, that's so stupid and tacky. But then legitimate sneakerheads are buying these because it's a part of history, right?
Yeah.
Did you get one? You got Trump shoes?
No way, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Are you a sneakerhead?
I am not, but I live with one.
Yeah.
Oh, that is true. Did he get the Kyries?
He does not know.
He needs to get the new Kyries. We can help him out. They're only $125. They're not expensive.
Well, and actually, funny enough, bringing up the shoes and bringing up everything regarding Trump, there's also like a mimetic warfare here. Like, memes actually did drive Trump to presidency in 2016.
We had Carpe Donkum on the show.
Exactly. And there'd be the same damn things to drive him to presidency now. And I mean, it's culture war stuff, but like when you have a campaign that has energy and has just jokes and shit flying around like that, that's what drives it. And that's another thing that DeSantis seemed to lack. Now, I mean, would he want maybe a more professional campaign? Yeah, he might have, which is understandable. But it doesn't seem to be what what the nation is calling for, what people are calling for, at least. When it comes to that.
If you were to ask me last year before Kanye went nuts, I think I was telling Dan this. I thought he would choose Kanye, and I thought they would clear up shop if he did that. But now
that
Kanye, because you're picking up where Trump left.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Kanye went off the deep end with Nick Fuentes, and I like Milo, but Nick
he's still not all there.
Yeah. I mean, his IG is insane. Like, I am tired of seeing his wife's ass. Like, I'm sorry, like your wife's good looking. Don't get me wrong; she has a fantastic body, but you can only see the ass so many times. Like,
it's a little weird.
Yeah, it is weird. And then, but let's talk about Kanye for a quick second. That this man had from going like, I don't want my kids to have bad influences. Kim's a bad influence. And then new wife's ass everywhere. It's like, yay. What are you doing, man? We had Shane Cashman on the show. And Shane Cashman from Scanner News, SCNR now. Timcast News, but SCNR now. Mm-hmm. He had a long interview with Ye. Like, I don't think he'd call himself friends, but he has his number. He communicates with them. And, he let out a big thing. He's like, dude, this is not who I met, who I interviewed. So, I don't know. Maybe his handler was getting back to him and drugging him.
Let's bring it back to healthcare for Kanye. What would you suggest he does so he could be on the right track again?
Take away his iPhone.
No, but listen. Then you'd have to say, a lot of people would say that for Trump too. So I don't know.
I do. Trump definitely has Twitter fingers. That's just his outlet.
Yeah,
but it helps him a lot because he get out with the news.
Who do you think he's going to choose for vice president?
I think it's either Kristi Noem, Tim Scott, or Ben Carson. I think those are the three, and I think it's really between Tim Scott and Ben Carson. I know
Tim Scott
and Paul, Paul Ingratiato last week, who's as close to the inner circle as you'll be. Maybe we'll talk to Pastor Scott, who might know. But Tim Scott's a close one. I don't like Tim Scott as his VP. I think Tim Scott. I think he's a good senator. I think he's a decent guy, but I think he comes across as a car salesman when he's talking. When he was up there during the debates, he had all the right talking points, but he connected with no one. And I don't think you need that. I think that I like Ben Carson because he's a breadstick and he just will lay out the facts. And he could talk about the great shit he did as the HUD director because he was a fantastic HUD director when he was there. And Kristi Noem has just been solid. You can't say anything wrong about Kristi Noem, but David goes against your rule because Kristi Noem's kind of hot. So no good looking women and no good looking
people. Not the no good.
I don't. Trump won't choose. I don't think he'll choose a female.
You don't think he will? What if he goes out of left field and he's like, Melania, let's fucking do this? And you think he would?
I would have been like, yes.
I'm waiting for him to just be like Don Jr. Let's go the Don route.
He can go with Oprah.
We should go with Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil's becoming based.
Dr. Phil is just noticing things.
George Santos just announced he's going to run for Congress.
George Santos would be a great VP. Make George Santos a VP. Make cross-dressing great again.
My thing about the VP pick is that VP is such a useless damn position. Like the only time the VP is ever useful is if the president dies. But
you can also lose it.
VP does nothing.
But you can also lose it because in the debates, when John McCain was running against Obama, McCain was doing okay. When Paul Ryan got fucking undressed by Biden, that turned a lot of people off because they're looking at it. And if McCain dies in office, this bumbling fool, where Biden at the time was a very good politician. And, as much as he's a racist piece of shit, he was good at what he did, at lying to people and things like that. So
he's a good liar.
He was a solid, being a politician liar. They walk in there. Yes. Biden in his prime was a solid politician, not a good one, but a solid in what he did. So the VP does count. But then again, they're going against Kamala. So you just got to show up.
I think it really counts now, especially I do believe Trump will win. There is a lot of pending things against him. So I think this year the VP candidate really, really does matter. And I think it'll matter now during his litigation trials. And I think it will matter after his 4-year term greatly, more so than I think we've seen in a long while.
Does Dan have an opinion at all about the trials and how they're going? Like, can we have you talk to him about those? Because right now it looks like Trump is on the front foot with most of them.
Has he watched the Fani Willis trial? Because that shit was hilarious.
Oh, I'm all over that.
That Fani Willis trial is absolutely hilarious. What's going on there? And, and it just goes to show, but, like I said to Paul, Fani Willis is going to fail up. Fani Willis is going to fail up. She is probably going to run against George Santos now as for senator, and they are going to go at it. I think we lost Jamie. There she is. She's back. Hi, Jamie. You're back.
Hi.
But, I just think that Fani Willis, I just said, Fani Willis is going to fail up, Jamie. After all this, she's going to run for senator. She's going to be George Santos' competition.
Those two are in some big trouble.
Yeah, but liberal leftists fail up. Look at Anthony Weiner. He's probably going to come back at some point. Like that guy always gets.
I did see last night. There was a commercial for a special on him.
Is it called Wiener Dog? Like what's the name?
That would be a good special.
That'd be a good special. Just call him Wiener Dog because he's an absolute dog.
Exactly, he is.
Isn't he Uma Aberdeen's or he was Uma Aberdeen?
He was. She's moved on to somebody better.
Isn't she with Alex Soros?
Yeah.
No.
No, which one's with Alex Soros?
There's a new one.
Well, let's see, David. That's your job. Look up Alex Soros' significant other. That was a big thing. I don't know. Listen, we need to know because Alex Soros is about to take over George Soros' empire.
Biden's giving all public school teachers a raise.
Uma Abedin, what is she doing? Yeah. What is he doing? Giving public teachers a raise? How? Stop giving my money away, you dick. I mean, I want a new rule. Jamie, can you help me push for this? Any job that feels...
Oh, come here. Speak of the devil. Dan can tell you now what he thinks of it.
Well, here he is. Come here, Dan.
Special guest.
You're being
Special guest, everyone. That is my cousin, Dan Portaways. He is a lawyer, and he is a suave-looking man. What up, Dan? You're live. You're on the live stream.
All right. Live we are. What's going on?
So what's your opinion on the Fani Willis case and the cases that Donald Trump is up against? What's your legal opinion on those?
Let Trump live. I don't think anything legal matters. Honestly, it's all political. Yeah, I don't think it matters. I don't think
about the state stuff though, because he could pardon himself federally.
Matters. No,
he could pardon himself federally, but what about the state stuff? Do you think any of the state stuff will stick? Because
I think any liberal states are going to probably try to make them stick. I mean, let's be honest. It's going to come down to politics. It's not going to matter what's fact or fiction. You know,
that's fair.
So I don't think that really matters. I think it's more about what's going to happen between now and the election. And if things go his way, then the states won't matter.
Who do you think is going to be the VP pick?
VP pick? I'm leaning towards DeSantis, but I've said Tim Scott could be a dark horse, not.
I was going Tim Scott.
Yeah, we were talking about Tim Scott.
Yeah, I was because he's a stable presence. He needs that yin to his yang. DeSantis and him could butt heads, and he's too much. Trump's an egomaniac, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
who isn't? If you're running for president, you have to be.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to worry about the next term because there will be no other term unless he can pull something off with that to give a third term to a president. I won't hold it against him at this point.
So, Jamie, when are you going to convince Dan to run for state AG? Because we need some good AGs to go against Biden.
Yeah, well, it ain't going to be in this. It ain't going to be in this administration for the state. I can tell you that.
Why not? They got close.
No.
So. But Dan, we appreciate it. Thank you for the
no problem. I'm here to help whenever I can.
Giving us your legal analysis, we love it.
It's not much legal analysis because I don't think.
Well, wait,
legal.
Have you paid attention at all to the Fani Willis trial?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, here's the thing. I'm too busy with,
Well, no, I don't even care about legality. How hilarious is that shit?
Everything Trump does to me is hilarious.
That is fair.
Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, it's entertainment value.
Biden wants a 25% tax on billionaires.
Biden? Biden doesn't even know he's doing that. Biden thinks that 25. He's like, 25. That sounds good. All right, where's my ice cream and nap? That's all that's going on right now. It's whoever talks the loudest in his cabinet meeting is getting something passed right now. I know how it goes. I've been in there. I've been in these meetings with these people, these politicians. It's all about how am I going to look today?
Stop.
So,
I mean,
anyway,
yeah.
Enough said on that.
One of these days, we are going to get you to get somewhere. Maybe Dave, we got to get him to move over to West Virginia with you guys. Jamie, relocate to West Virginia. Dan, go run for AG there.
If you want to go to West Virginia,
go to Colts now.
I'm surprised they were getting reception out there. I didn't know they had reception.
I have Ethernet. I'm plugged in.
That's so funny.
He has like a one line.
He's officially a mountaineer for the rest of his life now.
Exactly. You say you're surprised I have reception, but my internet went out during the fucking show.
That's great. That's great. I had no idea.
It's like the first time his internet has ever went out during any of our shows, and this is now 114 shows deep. Our first live stream, his internet goes out.
Not a surprise.
Of course, that's the way it works. Murphy's Law, right?
Absolutely the way it works. So, Dan, we appreciate you. Put your lovely fiance back on.
Yeah, much better to look at than me.
So, quickly, I want to thank the 204 people that are watching over on X. We appreciate all of you that you're watching, and we hope that, you've gotten a good education. Jamie's obviously extremely knowledgeable about healthcare. If you want to go and see more of her, see more of what Telos Health Systems is doing, go look at her Instagram. It's Jamie_11. You'll go get a lot of information there. And again, listen back to this if you want to hear what is going on. So, Jamie, we appreciate you coming on a lot. Yes. It was awesome.
It was a first live stream, Jamie. You are groundbreaking here.
You popped our cherry. Thank you.
I don't know about that one.
But
good for you guys, the video.
But yes, we appreciate it. We hope everything looked good. We hope everyone out there watching appreciated it. If you liked what you heard, if you liked what you saw, give us a like, share, follow, subscription everywhere. Rate us 5 stars, Spotify and iTunes. Go definitely on YouTube, give us a subscription. We will be on Rumble. So we can't be on Rumble unless there's more people that follow.
Yes, please follow us on Rumble.
We want to stream on Rumble because we want to have freedom, which is nice. So go on Rumble, follow us on there. Just go search the Alex Cuesta Show. You'll find us on there. And yeah, everywhere, spread this word of mouth. We're excited. We're going to be doing this live every week.
Yep.
As scheduled right now, next week, we're going to have the competitor against Lindsey Graham, running against Lindsey Graham for Senate, so we can get that very not homosexual senator out of there.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Lindsey Graham is 100% straight, no kids, no anything, but 100%. But anyway, that's who we're going to have on. We appreciate the 200 plus other people that joined, but unfortunately, we're going to have to get out of here because, like Joe Biden, we all need to get to bed at some point. He's been in bed for a while. So everybody, we appreciate you all for listening. Have a good one out there. We'll be back next week.